Hey, what's up everybody? Coming to you again with another product review for KochChemie S0.03, which is going to be a wet sealant. So you spray it on and rinse it off and it'll give you a certain amount of protection. So that's what we're gonna cover in today's video. You'll see I go through a multi-step decontamination process on a wash on a big old red Chevy, and then I apply the spray sealant. So with that, let's get into it. So what is it? KochChemie S0.03 is their newest product. I believe it was released earlier this year. And it's actually been out in Europe for a little while. They always release the products there because it's a German company. They release them first, so US is usually later to the game in getting them. So what is it exactly? It's a premium wet sealant, and I've got my notes here, so I'll be looking down. It's a premium wet sealant for hydrophobic surface protection on paint, glass, and plastic. And it feels velvety soft, according to KochChemie. There are high gloss additives in this, so it is supposed to give your vehicle some additional shine. In theory, it says it's supposed to provide deep gloss, prevent fading and embrittlement of plastic parts, and it impregnates convertible roofs, according to KochChemie. So basically what this does is you spray it on with a foam cannon application. You let it dwell briefly, according to KochChemie. They don't specify how long you should let it dwell, and then you rinse it off, and then it adds that protection and gloss for you. So very simple. There's other wet sealant applications on the market today. There's actually lots of different options. So this is just their newest version. So we're going to get into it. We'll talk about a little bit more about how to use it, when to use it, when not to use it, and we'll talk about some of their additional products in their lineup that offer similar levels of protection, but how they differ. So we just talked about what it is. The other thing with this, like all their products, is it has a really pleasant scent. So this is a fruity cherry scent, as they describe it. It's really nice. So that was really fun to use. And you know, it doesn't hurt when a product smells good either. So that's been good. So when should you use a wet sealant, right? Typically a wet sealant will come into play when you don't want to, you're not adding a ceramic coating, or you're not adding any other, you're not doing a wax, you're not doing any other kind of like manual protection application. This is probably for your non-ceramic coated car, and you want to just add protection without having to do all the work and prep of a ceramic coating, or even wax, hand wax, or machine wax for that matter. So these are really good for temporary protection, and they have a bit of added gloss to them. So again, there are spray-on wet sealants like a Geon wet coat, or like a DIY detail quick beads, which works really well. The longevity differs between the products, some weeks, some months. But today, obviously, we're testing out the KochChemie S0.03 hydrofoam wet sealant. So in terms of how to use this product, I think the benefit here, which we'll get into in a little bit, in terms of its competitors or its sister products within their line, this is the most highly dilutable of them. So in theory, it's the cheapest product, and it'll last you the longest. Now, you shouldn't use this every wash. If you're washing once a week or once every 2 weeks, no need to do that. We'll get into longevity in just a bit, but this will last you a while. So KochChemie recommends a dilution of 1:50 to 1:150, which is extremely dilutable. You can apply this in a pump sprayer or via a foam cannon. The one thing they do note is they say do not pre-mix and store this in your foam cannon. So when you're ready to use it, mix it, use it, and then empty the container after. A good pro tip is once you've sprayed it through your foam cannon, add some fresh water to the container and then spray that water out. You want to clear any of the additives and the sealants that are in this out of like the mesh filter in your foam cannon. You don't want that to get clogged up over time. So good practice. It's good practice to do whenever you're using your foam cannon with whatever product, but especially this product, it can kind of gum up your foam cannon, and then eventually you might see that it's not making as good a foam. So something to keep in mind there. So again, the dilution ratio is 1:50 or 1:150, highly, highly dilutable. It does say allow a brief dwell time. It does a reaction time. It doesn't tell you how long. If you're doing this in the sun, I would do this kind of side by side or even panel by panel. So I'd be very, very careful. In theory, you shouldn't use any sort of like spray sealants in the sun, but there's mobile guys, there's people that need to do this in their driveway, wash their cars, so totally makes sense. Just be smart about it. You do not want to let this product dry on the surface. That said, break it into sections if that's easier when you're applying this. Durability, so the jury's still out, I'll tell you that. It differs. I've read some articles or some commentary that it says, it can last like up to 3 months, which is I think a pretty good time for a wet sealant. Now, like everything, every product you use, every ceramic coating, anything and everything, the durability all depends on maintenance and usage. If you're in a crazy climate with a ton of snow and salt, and your car's getting beat up with weather constantly, those estimates probably aren't going to be realistic, and you're probably going to have to reapply more frequently. But while I'm filming this, it's 2024, it's July, it's in the summertime. I live in Arizona, so we don't really have much weather here other than extreme heat. So I feel pretty confident in saying like this will most likely get you weeks to months of protection. Maybe 4 weeks or a couple months of protection conservatively, depending on how you wash your car and how dirty it is, to be honest with you. So that's where we talk about the protection here. Now, how does it stack up to some of its competitors? So I have Nano Magic shampoo, it's kind of a fun product. It's kind of undersold or not really talked about. Nano Magic shampoo, I would say probably gives you about 2 weeks of protection. It has gloss additives in it, and it has some protection there that provides some water beading and sheeting. The difference here is that they recommend you use 50 milliliters in a bucket. So I think it was in a 5-gallon bucket. So you use a little bit more product, but this is it's like fun. You could do this, you could use this product every wash, right? So if you want to do that, if you're washing in every 2 weeks, this would be a really good option. What I don't have listed, or what I don't have on the table today, is KochChemie Protector Wax, or PW, which you'll see. Similar in style, creates that kind of lotus effect with like the oil slick on water, and it adds, it's a sealant, right? It has wax in it. And that durability as well is, a few weeks, some say up to a month there. And then that one you would foam on, and I believe the guidance is using 30 milliliters. So a few different options in their lineup. I think that the S0.03 is, at the end of the day, I think it is the highest cost, but it's per use, it's the lowest cost, and it'll last the longest. And in theory, the durability should be the longest out of all those products. So something to consider there when you might be overwhelmed, you're like, which one do I use? Depends on your usage or how you'd like to use it. Again, Nano Magic, I think you can probably foam it, but it does advise that you put it in a bucket and apply it by hand. So we'll get into the cost right now, which I think is a really important part of all this. Some of these can be rather expensive. So the S0.03, this 1 liter bottle, is $40 or $39.99 depending on where you shop. If you get it on Amazon, it's usually free shipping but plus tax, but for purposes of the video, we'll just call it an even $40, which means this is a liter, so it's about $1.17 per ounce. The really cool thing here is, unlike most soaps or snow foams, you're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ounces in a snow foam cannon, that can get expensive. This is so highly dilutable, as I mentioned, 1 to 50 to 1 to 150. I'll break down the prices and how much product you're actually going to use. So getting into the cost, like I said, these are super highly dilutable, especially the KochChemie S0.03. So at 1 to 50, using only 500 milliliters, for most people, if you have a car, you can get by with using half of your foam cannon. If you do have a truck or something bigger, absolutely you'll need to use the full amount, but the calculations here I'm gonna give you are for 500 milliliters or 16 ounces, half of your foam cannon, because that's gonna be plenty for you to use in most scenarios. Otherwise, just double the amounts that I'm giving you here. So at 1 to 50 or 500 milliliters, you only need 10 milliliters of soap or wet sealant. It's so concentrated. 10 milliliters is 0.33 ounces, which is nothing. It's next to nothing. So if you use that math based on 0.33 ounces, right? This is getting you at 1 to 50. This is costing you 39 cents a wash. And so if you think about, how often you want to use this, maybe use it once a month or once every 2 months, 39 cents a wash for a $40 bottle, that's going to get you super, super far. So really, really, really great dilutions here. Well, I'll go through the next couple for you. To be honest with you, I don't know if I would use this at 1 to 100 or 1 to 150. I've only ever used it at 1 to 50, and I think it provides really, really good gloss and protection at that level. But 1 to 100, you would only use 5 milliliters or 0.15 ounces, and then 1 to 150, 3 milliliters or 0.10 ounces, which is next to nothing. So it's extremely dilutable. You could try it at that. I would imagine that like the protection and the gloss and all those things decrease the higher you dilute it. But again, if for whatever reason, if you're really thrifty or you want to just really drag out the product, you could absolutely dilute this 1 to 50 per KochChemie's guidelines. All right, so what do you have to do to apply this? How should you apply this? So I would say you want to apply this the same way that you're going to apply any protection. You want to go through some decontamination steps before you apply this to your vehicle. So you don't have to go through a full decon wash with an iron remover and a clay bar or anything like that. You certainly can. It's good practice if your car has contamination on it. All right, so we'll talk about application here, when you should or how you should apply the product. With any sort of sealant, you'll typically want to go through some decontamination steps. The customer came in for a paint enhancement and a detail, so ended up using the S0.03. I went through a couple prep steps here. It came through, the truck had some dirt on it, some dust, it's an outside truck, and then it had some decent amount of water spots on it. But they weren't like super etched in my opinion. So I came in and we used the KochChemie Active Foam. And this is a great pre-wash. You could use any pre-wash you want. This is a 9.5. I didn't need like a super crazy strip wash there. So I let that dwell for about 5 minutes, rinsed it off. Then I moved to the CarPro Descale. And then I use this at, what's it called for? It calls for 1 to 10 in a foam sprayer and then 1 to 100 in a bucket. So that's exactly what I did. I sprayed it on the car and then I used that in my bucket wash to kind of eat away any minerals on the paint. It worked, no problem, came right off. So I rinsed the car there, and then I felt confident that I could apply the KochChemie S0.03. So again, your level of decontamination, totally up to you. You could also, you could have clay barred it if you're going to polish it, or you could use a clay towel or a clay sponge, whatever route you want to go there. You could use iron remover as well. Again, totally up to you. It depends on how deep you want to go into the decon process. I would say, obviously wash the car first at the bare minimum, and then you can apply your spray sealant. At the end of the day, whatever is left on the surface is going to kind of it's not like a ceramic coating where it's permanently stuck under there, but in theory, you want this to bond really well to the surface. So having a clean and contamination-free surface will give it that best chance at probably the longer durability on the product. Like, will it stick around if you just rinsed off your car with the hose and sprayed it on? Yeah, probably, but not for as long. So you want to go through the proper decontamination steps. At least hit it with, if you don't have any kind of pre-washes or anything like that, and you just have a neutral snow foam, for example, hit it with that snow foam first, let it dwell, rinse it off, come back in for the contact wash, rinse that, then hit it with the KochChemie, and then spray it. Okay, so we're gonna look at some of the before water behavior. So as you can see, pretty decent sheeting, just kind of leaving the panel very, very slowly. All right, so we're gonna start here with KochChemie Active Foam and get the foam all over the car. This is sped up about 5x, so what I like about this is you'll actually see how the soap is carrying off the dirt from the surface. If you just kind of look at that front light section or that front bumper, you can see the soap running down. That's the point here. I prefer a slightly runnier snow foam, and I turned down the knob on my Canon actually to make it a little bit more runny, because I want this soap to work, but I want it to pull off the dirt from the paint. That's the whole point, right? Just to get as much contamination off the surface as possible without actually touching it. So while that's dwelling, I'm prepping for the contact wash, adding the CarPro Descale, about 1 to 100 to the bucket, and then we'll add some suds to it once we rinse off the car. Typically I like to rinse top down. A lot of different people do it differently. You can rinse bottom up. They say it allows for the soap to stay on longer, which is better dwell time. I don't lose sleep over it, neither should you. Okay, so we got the car rinsed here. Now we're going to move into our CarPro Descale contact wash. So first we're going to foam it on. In the foam cannon, CarPro recommends 1 to 10, and in the bucket is a 1 to 100 dilution. So just adding some extra lubrication to the surface, kind of getting it over the top of any like water spots or minerals. It's just getting it a little bit of extra dwell time, which in theory should kind of help it eat away at that. So we'll move into the contact wash right now. Add some suds to the bucket and just go over methodically and just make sure you hit all the surfaces. No need to scrub. Let the wash pad do the work, and you're really just kind of working in that product into the surface, and then we'll go through and rinse it right before we add the KochChemie S0.03. So it's always good practice to find yourself some of those smaller detail brushes. Some people like to make fun of them on YouTube, but I actually find them quite useful to get in the nooks and crannies, right? You just saw me use it on the decals and now in the gas tank. It works really well. So now we're getting into the actual spray sealant part with the S0.03 from KochChemie. As you can see, it is not thick at all. It's actually rather runny. You can see some of the water behavior on the windshield there, where it's kind of already wanting to bead or sheet off there. So the whole point is really just getting it on the surface, and KochChemie recommends just a dwell time. They don't really specify how long, so I think you'll be safe basically just getting it on the entire car or vehicle. Once you're done, just immediately follow up in the same method you applied and rinse it off from there. And I've never had any problems doing it that way. So that's what I'd recommend. All right, we're getting you into the after part, and you'll see, it'll take a second once we get everything off the surface here. You'll see the water behavior after the sealant. Now, it's not a massive water beater, and also this is a vertical panel. I noticed that after you apply this, the water sheets off more than beads, but it just does it much faster than without the protection. Like here, you can see the water just evacuates the surface really, really fast. So you can see the protection and the water behavior here. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Final thoughts, guys. I think this is a really great product. Again, depending on the level of effort you want to put in or how you like to apply any sort of like spray or temporary protection, there are a million options on the market. There is spray-on wet sealants, which is kind of in this world. Again, DIY quick beads, G-on wet coat, you have the Nano Magic, you have the S0.03, you have protector wax. There's probably a 20 other that I can't think of at the moment. You know, so you have that type of spray-on protection. You also have spray-on ceramic sealants as well. There are a million different routes you can go, but again, how much effort you want to put in the process and how much time you have all play a factor into that. So for your consideration, KochChemie S0.03, I think it's a great product. You should try it out. If you don't have any protection on your car. And look, you can totally apply this if you do have a ceramic coating. My thoughts on applying toppers or protections on ceramic coatings might be a little bit different than others, and I'll give you the quick TLDR there. For me, I don't think you should be applying things on top of your ceramic coating, right? And the quick reason here why is you paid all that money for the ceramic coating, whether you got it applied professionally or you installed it yourself. There was all of that either money spent or all of that labor spent in decontaminating and prepping the surface and polishing, and then you applied the product. Now the product has certain characteristics in it that you want it to perform, right? Like it's got really a high contact angle, right? It beads really well, it shoots water off the surface, it's self-cleaning, and you know, it offers all of those features within whatever coating you got, whether you got a graphene or a ceramic coating. There's a million different things that, different features within ceramic coatings. But the last thing that you apply to the surface is what you're going to see in terms of your performance. So if you put a ceramic coating on your car and then you put S0.03 on top of that, you're gonna see the S0.03's performance, not the ceramic coating's performance. So the school of thought there is like, well, if I add a topper, it'll increase the longevity of the ceramic coating. But in my opinion, you know, if you have any ceramic coating that's kind of worth its weight, then it should be able to perform on its own and you shouldn't have to top it. Odds are in 2 to 3 years, or maybe less, you're probably gonna get some scratches on your car. You're probably gonna have to repolish it and reapply that ceramic coating. So either way, like to prolong the longevity, unless you keep your car in the garage and you drive it once a month or something and it's really, really babied, I wanna see the performance of my ceramic coating, right? Like I paid for it, I did the work. I want to see the water behavior, and when I wash the car, that's really fun to me. So adding a topper on top of it, you can totally do it. It's up to you, but I recommend kind of these kind of spray-on sealants and things for unprotected cars. The spray sealant side, G-on wet coat, DIY quick beads, another great product to use like on wheels, right? If you don't have any protection, or if you do have protection, you can extend the life there. So quick thoughts on this. I would recommend it. I would give it a shot. Again, do not over dilute it. Like trust me, I've tried it. I eyeballed it like I do most of my other like chemicals and soaps. I put it on a customer car, it streaked like crazy. I didn't have to polish, but I did have to go in and contact wash and kind of give it some elbow grease. Avoid that mistake. We all want to use more soap and more foam and more product because it's fun. These types of products, I highly encourage you to really, really follow the dilution ratios, as it's really important. Less is more. 50 to 1 or 1 to 50 will give you exactly what you're looking for. I appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I'm going to continue doing these updates on wash process or how-to videos. Still trying to come up with different content ideas, so feel free to drop anything in the comments that you want to see. Someone asked to do a wash pad review, so I'm going to do that in the future. I plan to do some other ones like comparing different pre-washes, whether they're pH neutral or a higher pH. So stay tuned for those. Again, if you have any requests or comments, drop them in the comment thread, and also let me know, have you used any of these? Have you used them? What's been your result? Do you have a favorite one? Do you have one that I didn't talk about today? I would love to hear about it. Thanks guys, appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.